Listen to the 48 Hours podcast for shocking murder cases and compelling real-life dramas from one of television's most watched true crime shows. Go behind the scenes of each episode with award-winning CBS News correspondents and producers in Postmortem, a weekly deep dive. Listen to 48 Hours wherever you get your podcasts.
Inspired by the life of the savvy and ambitious Colombian businesswoman Griselda Blanco comes a new Netflix original limited series. Griselda tells the story of a devoted mother who, with her lethal blend of charm and relentless savagery, creates one of the most powerful cartels in history. Witness Sofia Vergara's captivating transformation into the godmother of the underworld. Griselda, now streaming only on Netflix.
Barenaked, 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 ABCs. Welcome to the Barenaked ABCs, where we discuss all the songs about bears from A to Z. And this week we have finally reached one of my favorite bands, Barenaked Ladies, ironically. So this week we're going to discuss the song The Other Day I Met a Bear. Joining me tonight, I have with me Heidi and Aaron.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, I messed that up. I meant that the other way around. Barenaked Ladies, bear. Oh, yeah. It's the spelling error. It's those homophobes.
This isn't the podcast about songs about bears?
Oh, this isn't about Hank the bear that keeps breaking into houses. Did you see that? There's a big, huge bear, and he's broken into like 15 houses.
Well, there were a bunch of bears that reclaimed houses in Detroit. I heard about that. They were like gentrifying.
This Hank the Bank, he's 500 pounds.
Hefty boy.
500-pound bear.
You know, Detroit and Chicago hate each other, so you know they hate it in Detroit when the Bears take over.
Bears.
He's broken into nearly 28 homes in California.
Wow.
You should see this bear, Aaron. You gotta Google Hank the Tank, the California bear. He's a 500-pound black bear in Lake Tahoe area, and they cannot catch him. And he's broken in.
The size of this lad, absolute unit.
He's huge. So how appropriate that this news broke this week. In fact, today they updated it this afternoon that he's still breaking into houses. So I don't think I'd like to meet. I would not like to meet Hank the Tank the bear.
I can see why he's still breaking into houses, because who is going to even try shooting that with a shotgun? He'd just get mad.
No, you know what I need to send you for the pages for the liner notes this week is the video of our black bear that we had in the backyard.
Oh yeah.
And I saw him from the kitchen, and my husband came out, and I was like, "We have a bear in the backyard," and he was like hanging around the bird feeders, and he was big. And my husband goes out, and he's like, "Go away, bear!" And the bear's like, "What? Like I'm a bear?" And I don't know if you've ever
go away, bear.
Go away, bear. I was like, I don't know.
Why didn't that work?
Dying in the house. Go away, bear.
It's
so funny. The other year I met a bear. A great big bear
now
in
that
my
I
backyard.
live in the woods, I see deer all the time, which is great. But I have seen these tracks in the snow that are pretty huge, and I think they might be from a bear. I haven't seen the bear. If there is one, it doesn't look like a moose. It looks bigger than that and more like a claw. So I'm pretty sure they're bear tracks. Or very creative pranksters wearing bear track boots. Either or. It's a 50-50 split on that one.
You know, I don't know if you've ever seen the Cleveland Show, but there's this one, it was like the offshoot of Family Guy, and there's a bear in the show. And it's in the theme song, which has always made me laugh. But there's this one where he's like, yeah, you did some this thing in the morning. And then the bear's like, yeah, I'm a bear. I can kill you. I can rip your face off. I can eat you. I'm a bear. I can do whatever I want. I'm a bear.
Well, speaking of the Cleveland Show, you know who they actually made fun of on Family Guy on that one episode was the Barenaked Ladies.
Yeah.
For 6 seconds.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's the band we're talking about tonight.
We are. We're talking about Barenaked Ladies.
We are.
Oh, that bear.
A Herculean effort to get us back on track.
Oh, way to go. So the other day I met a bear and I did my notes tonight.
I have a question for Aaron, though. Aaron, what album is this on?
Well, I was going to say Snack Time, but obviously not, since you asked that question. So I'm guessing, didn't they do like songs for a bunch of compilation albums? I'm guessing it's one of those.
Be more specific.
Oh my God, I don't know.
You would never.
It's off the third of the For the Kids album.
Okay.
Nope.
Oh, yeah. No,
it's not the third one. I thought it was the third one.
It was on that album eventually. However, originally it was not made for that album. It was just repurposed for that album later on. You would never in a million years guess what album this is on. They recorded this for the soundtrack of the TV series The Simple Life.
Oh, that's right.
Wow, yeah, I never would have guessed that.
First, I thought that came second. Because I knew they did La La Lemon for the first one of that series that Sarah McLachlan did, and then they did this one on the third album. But I thought The Simple Life came after that. Interesting.
This was specifically done for that series. For those of you who don't know what The Simple Life is, well, before we get to that, if you've never heard this song before, here is a quick snippet.
The other day, I met a bear, a great big bear, way up there. The other day, I met a bear, a great big bear, way up there.
And now that you've heard that snippet, you would never imagine that this was for The Simple Life, because if you know what The Simple Life is, it was an American reality TV show that it was on.
Oh, wasn't it with?
I may or may not have watched the entire first season of it.
That was Paris Hilton and
Nicole Richie.
Yeah. Holy crap. Never seen it, but I was very much aware.
And it was so I remember one episode specifically where they were like, you go to a mall or Walmart. They have no concept of what Walmart was.
Yeah, wasn't it just like two extremely rich people just living like normal people? Like, it wasn't even like Survivor. It was just like live like a normal person.
No, they were living at people's houses
and doing low-paying jobs.
Well, at least there's some catharsis in that.
And at a certain point, they're like, we have nothing left to do, so they sent them to be camp counselors at fake camps. Like, they created this camp, and each week did a different group of kids to come in, actors that were kids.
Did they get attacked by bears?
No. Like, the camps were, one was a beauty camp, one was a fat camp. So already I have a problem with Nicole Richie and Paris Hilton being counselors at a fat camp. Like, already, like, I have a major issue with this.
Yeah. I can't see that going well.
I cannot believe for the life of me that had 5 seasons.
Wow, 5 seasons?
Yeah. How did they get 5 seasons?
Because this album was actually made for the 5th season of it.
Wow.
Why do they keep letting Adam Sandler make movies? But we'll never know.
Hey. Adam Sandler, I have to have an affinity for because he's a Manch boy and I'm a Manch girl, and we went to the same high school.
No way.
So he was a few years ahead of me.
I like some stuff he's been in, but usually it's stuff where he's not. It's like Punch Drunk Love and stuff like that. I think when he's given good material,
I did like Punch Drunk Love. But I like Billy Madison and Big Daddy.
Like Happy Gilmore, I still think back fondly on.
But I don't like Little Nicky, and I don't like. So there are some that I don't like. Sorry, Adam Sandler. The show. His
new he's got 3 movies that are on Netflix that he did with Jennifer Aniston, which are really, really good movies.
Well, I only say they keep letting him make movies because they won't let Mike Myers make movies, and I'm a little upset about that.
Well, I think the Love Guru caused that.
Well, and his tribute to Chris Farley was incredible.
Yeah.
His tribute to Chris was one of the best things ever. So, but anyway, I still can't believe they let him go on for 5 seasons. But if it gives us this version of The Other Day I Met a Bear, I'll take it.
And here's the weird thing. So they created this song.
See how I brought it back? See how I brought it back? That's what a teacher does.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you. Someone needs to do it.
This album, there was no promotions. None of the songs on this album were actually heard on the show.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
So they created this album to sell to people without actually promoting it or connecting it to the show.
Music. This is music that was inspired by the wonderful art of The Simple Life.
Remember, though, in like the late 80s, early 90s, like I remember I had the first Dirty Dancing album, like the real album.
Yeah.
And then there was music inspired by Dirty Dancing.
Music inspired by The Simple Life.
None of that was in the movie. None of this was in the movie. And so why did we start doing that? Like music inspired by, like some TV soundtracks were good enough. Like the Scrubs soundtrack, the first original soundtrack for Scrubs was so good.
Yeah,
you had
Laszlo Bain.
Oh, like Fresh Feeling. You had a lot of the Eels music. I got so into the Eels because of Scrubs. But then you started seeing, inspired by.
Heidi,
I'm like,
Can I propose something?
Yes.
I think this was the analog era's proto version of the algorithm recommending things for you. Hey kids, if you like The Simple Life, you'll love Barenaked Ladies singing campfire songs. It's basically
now available from Time Life series. We bring to you
before Spotify recommended stuff to you. We had these albums.
We're going off the deep end. You remember? You guys, but you two would remember. Would you remember? Do you remember like the what was the series? And I had them on cassette tape.
Now that's what I call music.
Oh, before that.
No, I remember when the first one of those came out, but it was like it was all music that was like from like the 60s and 70s.
The Time Life series.
Oh, yes. They had those commercials and yeah. They would like scroll the song titles by and play little clips. They had like Time in a Bottle and stuff like that. And there was actually some really good music on there.
And I think Time in a Bottle was on every single compilation. Like, it didn't matter what it is, but every era. Like, it could be like
AM Gold.
We're doing the 80s, but we're going to have Time in a Bottle on it.
Well, because it's a song about time, so it fits in any era. That's how that works, right?
So I want to play for you the other songs that were on this album that never got played by anyone. It is on Spotify. I will have that in the liner notes so that way people can actually listen to this album that I don't think anyone ever listened to. So this is Hole in the Bucket by Lee Nash.
There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, a hole. So fix it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. So fix it, dear Henry, fix it.
I like how quirky that is.
That would be better if it was done by Hole.
Courtney Love.
That would be amazing.
And then if Bonnie Tyler did My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean, My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean.
Or Bonnie Raitt.
Or Bonnie Raitt.
Or Bonnie Tyler and Bonnie Raitt together.
Ooh,
that would
duet.
Who would do You Are My Sunshine? Soleil Moon Frye.
Yes. And Smokey the Bear would do On Top of Old You know what is sad, though, my friends? Now, being a music teacher for 25 years and teaching elementary music for some of that time, kids are not learning these old camp songs anymore. Oh, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. His name is.
I was going to say. Well, here. So this is "My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean" by Kinky.
Whoa.
The ocean. My body lies over the sea.
See, I can't hear that song without thinking of the Beatles in their skiffle phase in their early career, and I can't help can't help but wonder what the audiences of that era would have thought. It would have been like Marty McFly playing Johnny B. Good and going off on the metal guitar solo. Maybe you're not ready for that, but your kids are gonna love it.
Your kids are gonna love it.
Exactly.
That reminds me of. Do you remember the Schoolhouse Rock?
Yes.
Remake where like Blind Lemon did 3 as a magic number, and that album is so good.
Was Elliott Smith's cover of Figure 8 on that? Because he did cover that song.
You know what? I think so. I have it on a CD.
Wow. That's like when I tell people I used to work at a video store, and they're like, "How are you still alive?"
Yeah, that came out in 96. Oh my God. And I bought it when it first came out too. And it was so good. I listened to that over and over.
I love Schoolhouse Rock.
That was right. Biz Markie did the Energy
Yes.
Blues. Blind Melon 3 is magic. And the Ezra did Conjunction Junction.
Nice.
Ween did Shot Heard Around the World. The Lemonhead. My Hero Zero. Moby did Verb. That's What's Happening.
Wow.
Interplanet Planet was Man or Astro Man. Buffalo Tom did Lolly Lolly Lolly. Get your burbs here. Skilo. Like that was such a good album. And that version of My Bonnie reminds me of that so much.
Yeah, I could hear that.
Well, here is My Clementine, My Darling Clementine by the Submarines.
Thank you. Last one.
Way more experimental than I anticipated.
This is a very experimental album, and it is headed off by B&L's song. Like, that's the beginning song of this. You think going into this that you're going to get a very campfire-y type song album, but then they take some very big divergences.
So Barenaked Ladies is like the little sucker jab that sets you up for the haymaker.
Oh, totally. So here's Go for Guts. I did enjoy listening to Go for Guts by MC Lars.
So
my
cool.
God, MC Lars is on this album?
Yep.
What?
Great green globs of greasy, grimy gopher guts, mutilated monkey meat, little birdie's dirty feet. Great green globs of greasy, grimy gopher guts, and me without my spoon. Let me spit it. Back in first grade, yo, I had it made. I had friends who liked me, my bed was made. My mom's woke me up at 7 a.m. I go to school, come home, then I do it again. Miss Peterson, serious, always mad at me. That's the way it had to be, cause I had ADD. But we had it too when we were feeling sad, you see. Sitting on the swings, yo, we sang happily. Great green clock.
I had no idea MC Lars ever achieved this kind of mainstream success. I'm always shocked when I meet someone who knows who he is. I met him at an MC Chris show where he was opening for MC Chris. I had no idea who MC Lars was. I thought he was just a dude working the merch booth because he was at the merch booth selling his stuff. And I was like, hey, man, how's it going? I shook his hand. I'm like, that's an awesome shirt because he was wearing a red shirt with yellow lettering that said Stephen King Rules, which is the shirt that the kid has from Monster Squad. And I was like, wow. And I was like, hey, man, that's a cool shirt. And he's like, hey, thanks, I got to go. I'm like, oh, and he gets up on stage and he starts rapping. I was like, oh, my God. So I had no idea who he was at the time, but I met MC Lars. He was super nice. And yeah, super cool guy.
So I'll also play When the Saints Go Marching In by the Pinkertones.
When the saints go marching in, when the saints go marching in, Lord, how I want to be that number. When the saints go marching in, and when the sun.
Such a fun album.
It is so different, and I love the fact that they are taking some big swings with this music and not just doing what people would expect.
Now I understand what you meant, Tracy, when you said this was going to be a fun episode. I have to ask then, why did B&L go just straight up kids campfire song with their version? Everything else on this album is like weird and experimental.
I don't think they did. I think like every verse they got really more interesting. Like the choir-y section, and like you've got the mandolin or the harpsichord going in there. You've got there's some really funny sections. I think I like the shout. It's just fun and campiness, and it could be because it's a call and response song, because it's an echo song. Yeah. Like there's only so much you can do, but I thought that they played with it quite well. I thought they played with it like growing up, going to camp as a kid.
Yeah,
and this was like I was a camp counselor for 2 years for Salvation Army camp. I went to camp as a kid, and then of course elementary music. So these echo songs are the first foundational songs you start using with little kids. And so, I heard the way they did it. I was like, if you've got to kick it up a notch, I thought they kicked it up a nice little notch.
Oh yeah, like so Ed is definitely the straight man in the song. He is just playing like the regular whatever normally people would do. And don't forget, these guys started off as camp counselors. That's how they began who they were. So I also want to play a clip for you guys really quick of why they chose this song. Cool. Because I was actually able to find that this week.
Searched and I could not find anything. That's so neat.
So here is them on Hard Rock Live in 1997, before they even made it big.
When someone says, well, you're a fun band, you kind of get your back up because you think, well, we're not just fun. We have good songs and we play well together, and it's a deeper show than just being fun. But at the same time, being called fun is a great compliment, because to really entertain people is a really tough thing to do.
So we're doing this show, and the security is freaking out because everyone's like rushing the stage when we get on to play, and the security's freaking. And they stop us in the middle of a song. And they say, you have to get the audience to move back. And everyone was freaking out, and we just asked, the however 14,000 people there to move back, and they sort of politely did move back. And then they weren't ready to start the show again, so we started
singing.
They
had all the house lights were up and everything.
Yeah, house lights are up. We're on the stage in the middle of a set. So we start singing a campfire song that, the other day, I met a bear, and the whole audience sings it. Just to have an audience be in the vibe that much, that a show can blow out so terribly, but the crowd is still with you, like, that's amazing.
Show.
Baby Steve and Baby Ed, oh my goodness.
I know. Did Ed
gosh,
ever think that the hairstyle / go like that phase for Ed was not as attractive as I used to think it was? He looks better now than he did back then.
It's pretty close to like a bowl cut.
Yeah, it was so weird. And then when he had the blonde on top, we love you, Ed. Please come on the show.
Yeah, please come on the show. We know you listen.
that was rough.
There were a lot of hairstyles that were very iffy for a very long time.
Yeah.
Well, I had no idea.
And Ed played around with most of them.
I had no idea the band has such a history with this song, and that makes me like it a little more. It's not that I hate it, but I have a feeling based on both of your reactions that I'll be drinking the haterade tonight. It's all relative. It's all relative.
I gotta go with what you were saying though, Heidi. Like they really, so Ed's playing that straight man, but Steven and the rest of the band are really kicking it up a notch and doing something different on every single stanza, every single turn around on this. Like one time they're just taking it nice and simple.
Ahead of me, there was a tree.
A great people. Then the next time they're kind of dramatizing it up a little bit, and then the next time around they're doing a choir.
Don't you fret, now don't you frown, cause I cut that branch on the way back down. Now don't you fret, now don't you frown, cause I cut that branch on the way back down. This is.
And then they're yelling. My favorite, though, okay, there's a lot of favorites I have in this with Steven, but I just picked out something new after years of listening to this week, because I had my music way up. And there's this one spot where they're saying, this is the end, there ain't no more. And unless you have it picked up, all you hear is this plink plink on the mandolin. But if you have the speakers up, you hear Steven in the background going, why?
This is the end. There ain't no more. Unless I meet that bear once more.
So it's like, there is no more. Why? He's like all plaintive and worried that the song's over.
Interesting.
And I love the, like, Steven's statement of, like, when he jumps into the air, he's like, so then I jumped in the air and I missed that branch way up there. He's like, well, are you surprised? I mean, come on.
So I jumped into the air, but I missed that branch.
Are you surprised?
Oh, way up there.
I mean, come on.
And so
It was definitely fun and reminiscent of how they would do it with an audience or with kids or live. And again, they definitely have a lot of fun with it. So I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. Well, and on the tree line, when they're running toward the tree, you have Steven saying one thing, and then you have some of the band doing a completely different thing, and then you have Kevin in the background on a delay singing the whole song, singing that whole verse with no stops, with no pauses in between.
Ahead of me, there was a tree. A great big tree. Oh, glory be! Ahead of me, there was a tree. A great big tree. Oh, glory be!
So you got like, it's like if you were around a campfire and everyone wanted to do their own thing. It had that feel. It really did.
It really did. And that they thrive on the call and response kind of stuff, which they thrive on the energy of the audience, and it's such a great rapport you have when going to a live show, etc. And everybody can sing that, and that's what Echo songs are great about, because everybody can sing, everybody can be involved. So and the energy is so great.
Just for a little bit of background, this song was written in 1919 by Carrie Morgan and Lee David. And then they were the ones that did the lyrics, but it's written to the music of Sipping Cider Through a Straw. The song Sipping Cider Through a Straw. Or it's kind of similar to that. And I don't have down who wrote the music for that.
No, and the origination of the lyrics is very hard whenever you're talking about these campy folk songs, because the words generally are like, it's part of an oral tradition.
Right.
So when thinking back to like ballads and things like that came from the folk ballad tradition of Europe in the medieval times. And then those stories that carried through orally through counties and countrysides, etc., and then made their way to America, and like James Childs, who compiled all of these ballads, like the Gallows Pole, and that's Led Zeppelin's remake of it, the Freed from the Gallows, and Barbara Allen, and all of those very old ballads that were then remade by a lot of rock bands in the 70s, but they were orally transferred from generation to generation to generation in the oral tradition because people didn't read. So minstrels going, from place to place.
Yeah.
Would then give them that those stories through song. And we've gotten so far away from the oral tradition, and camp songs are really the American oral tradition of getting kids to know these songs through generation to generation. And when my son was at Cub Scout camp the last several years, except for COVID, when you'd go to see their last skit night, so many of these songs were done because these songs survive and survive and survive. I have this amazing guitar book, and Aaron, I don't know if you're familiar. I now have 3 of them. I have a big version and then 2 little ones, but it's called Rise Up Singing. And it's this blue book of all, and it's probably the best songbook around. And I have one copy at work. I have one copy here, and it's the group singing songbook that was done by Peter Blood way back. And
oh, that's cool.
These songs, and all that you get in these books is the lyrics and the chord.
Yeah, it's even more stripped down than like a real book or a fake book. It's
yeah. And but you've got them all, like Be Kind to Your Web-Footed Friends, The Cat Came Back, Clementine, like all of these songs and these folk songs and faith songs.
That's cool.
And then they did another one, the Rise Again songbook, to even add more, because there are so many songs that, like, I'll go and perform at the local nursing home, and these are the songs that they remember because these songs when they were kids. So they love kids songs and patriotic songs and like Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And so things like The Other Day I Met a Bear, it goes over really well in a nursing home because lyrics and songs are still in their brains. But I'd love to see us get back to an oral tradition that don't go to camp or have very little exposure to these kinds of songs in elementary school are not getting these. Granted, now we're also going through a huge age of taking a lot of what we used to consider part of the elementary music lexicon out, because some of those songs we've discovered are much more racist context, like Jump Jim Joe and Cotton Eye Joe.
I was shocked because when I learned that
Pick a Bale of Cotton.
When I learned that one of the original lyrics to Big Rock Candy Mountain is where they hung the jerk that invented work. Because we sung that in kindergarten, but I didn't sing that verse.
Oh yeah, the Big Rock Candy Mountain. Oh my gosh, that song is now out again in the, have you seen the commercial for the truck? But
Yeah. I think it's instrumental, isn't it? Isn't it instrumental in that commercial or?
Yeah, and no, he does sing. There are lyrics in there, but now there are 2 commercials out where it's this cat who is just Walter. I think the cat's name is.
Yeah,
and he goes in the second set, he goes and rescues the guy from the snow. He's like, he swims. But so the Big Rock Candy Mountain is in that. And I was like, wow.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I've been getting back into, I'm trying to force myself to practice guitar more and ukulele. And I'm looking at old folk songs, and one of the songs, like I'm thinking about hopefully like putting together a set of material to do a live show at some point in the near future.
I highly suggest getting this.
I would love to check that out, and I will. I want to do.
I've been using this for 25 years, and it never gets old. It's so good.
I like a lot of the old folk songs that like the immigrants brought over from like Ireland and Scotland, like New York Girls. I love that song. Some of the sea shanties are like really coming back into style now, so it's really interesting.
Well, and just going through, yeah, you're right. But even some of those songs, you're like, ooh, so really paying more, like Eeny Meeny Miny Mo.
Yeah, depending on what version you're doing, that could be very bad.
You're right. Yeah. They changed it for Catch a Tiger by the Toe, but and of course Jimmy Craig Corn.
Yep.
Oh, Susanna, Camptown Races. So there are lots of songs that we grew up with as kids in school, learning in school, that you're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't use those anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't think The Other Day I Met a Bear is one
No,
of them.
I don't think so. I mean,
you're anti-bear.
No. The only line that is somewhat questionable in there that wouldn't get by in schools is he said to me,
the bear's now a rug.
No, why don't you run? I see you ain't got any gun. The gun thing, like, it wouldn't get by in schools.
But killing the bear and turning him into a rug.
Okay, that would be okay.
I don't think that. I think that would be okay, actually, because like the bear's being facetious there. Like, what are you gonna do? I'm a bear. I see you ain't got any gun.
What you gonna do when the bear comes? What you gonna do?
Bad bears. What you gonna do?
What you gonna do when they come for
when
you? When they eat your
put you on the floor as a rug. Sorry.
It's like Hank the Tank. Hank the Tank would
Hank
say
the
that.
Tank.
Many
is a bad bear.
Hank the Tank would look at you and say, "Yeah, I don't care if you get a gun or not."
Wait, did Hank the Tank go streaking through the quad? No, that was Frank. Going streaking through the quad. Sorry, that was an old school reference.
Nice.
I do want to point out, I did find the information. So, Sucking Cider Through a Straw was written by W. Ferrer in 1894 as a minstrel song, as you were saying. And it is in the key of F and done in waltz time.
Well, this one is not in the key of F.
What is this in? Would you?
This one is in the key of A.
Yeah,
do you
it's
have
in
it
the Canadian key.
Yeah. A. About 135, 36 beats per minute.
That's what I have.
And it's a 1-5-7-1 progression, and that's all it does.
That's all it does.
A to E to G to A, A to E to J to A, A to E to G to A, E to D to G to A.
I mean, it's a campfire song, so.
Right. And of course, there's no chorus. It's just an echo song. So
the form
it's
is just A. It's
A. Ah. The other day, I met a great. Oh, wait on that. But there are so many of those. Like, what's the frog in the bog under? Oh my gosh,
down by the bay. Down by the bay,
where the watermelons grow. Back to my home.
Yeah.
I dare not go, but if I do, I'm going to be that old lady in the nurse in 30 years that's still singing all of these
Have you
songs.
ever seen a cow with the green eyebrow?
Green eyebrow. And I used to do it when I had elementary kids, because I always played guitar because it was so easy, because I didn't like a wall of a piano between me and my kids. And so we would make up our own, like a kid would throw out something silly and we'd create a rhyme to go with it. And that's what I love about echo songs with kids, because you can take this song and say, the nearest what? The nearest, bog was on the ground.
Did you ever see a duck?
I'm just I'm just thinking about what little a-holes my friends and I were in chorus class when we were little kids. Goodness. Because we would do things like, I mean, obviously, if the chance presented itself, like if we were doing the name game, we'd always go for Buck or something like that. But like, more than that, the best example is "Mama Don't Low." So "Mama Don't Low," no guitar playing around here.
When
they called on you, you were supposed to like shout out an instrument, like trumpet or whatever. Well, I wanted to be a drummer. But my music teacher was insistent that I be a percussionist, not a drummer. And I had to be, respectable, learn to play the piano and other things. So what I got instead of a drum set, originally, the first thing I got was what it was called a junior percussion kit. And it came with like a glockenspiel and like a practice pad that emulated a snare drum. So when they called on me, I said, junior percussion kit. Mama don't allow no junior percussion kit playing around here. We were such jerks. Bless our chorus teacher, Mrs. Snow. She had such patience. She was a saint.
It's amazing because like kids make up their own words to think, and I know from a lot of experience, especially teaching high school, so many years. And I would do the same thing, like, especially with my band. Like, Pomp and Circumstance became the nacho song, or the taco song, really. No, not it was nachos. It's so much to the point that at the end of every year, when you play Pomp and Circumstance ad nauseum, I had cards. And so it was like, I really like nachos. I like them with cheese. I really like nachos. Give me some now, please. Like, it became this thing every year because you're playing it nonstop.
I'm not going to be able to hear that song and not think about nachos. And
I know, right? Even it's one of those things, because my husband's a genius. He can put tacos or nachos into any song on the record. Like, it came in like some nacho sauce. Never had some cheese on that. Like, he just does it all the time. All the time. There's no song that is safe with my husband in the car. Tacos or nachos or something. I don't understand why nachos is kind of the go-to. We could put nachos in the Bear song.
The other day, I met a taco.
I had some nachos, some great big nachos instead of tacos. The other day, I had some nachos, a lot of nachos instead of tacos. Instead of tacos.
I'm just thinking about Gert from Invader Zim now.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Doom, 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 doom.
Any of those taquitos?
Taquitos. Instead of taquitos. I don't know. There's so... Oh, man.
So I'm going to pull us back.
In there about having to go to the bathroom, but, you know.
You feel my mind falling away like bits of a wet cake.
Yeah, it's been a long week, and I have a long day tomorrow, too. Once again, just that kind of a week. That's okay. Are you like,
let's talk about ratings. Do you guys have anything that you would like to go for a rating system for this week?
I think we need to rate it on Hank the Tank's.
All right.
Okay. I was going to say tacos or nachos, but Hank the Tank, I'll go for Hank the Tank.
I mean, we got to give credit to our 500-pound friend in California.
How many hundreds of pounds bear?
Well, he weighs 500.
How many Hank the Tanks?
So a scale of 1 to Hank the Tank or 0 to Hank the Tank.
Right. He's 500 pounds. So
we'll do it in a decimal point system.
In a Dewey Decimal System.
Well, who would like to start? Who wants to? Why don't we start with the hater?
Yeah. Okay. So the other day, I met a Barenaked lady song that was not destined to make my best of playlist. Look, it ain't no la 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 lemon. I'm glad that I had this chance to talk about it with you guys, because I think I like it a little more than I thought I did. And the other thing is, I like so many of these songs, I really wish that I could have been at a concert and to hear them play this live, or just hearing the story about them having to have to stop the show and then just kind of getting people started on a round or whatever. That's so fun and quirky and cool, and that's so very them. And I like that. I like that a lot. So, it's like I said, I don't hate it. But, this is a show where we also talk about conventioneers and Brian Wilson and The Flag and alcohol and Enid and so many songs that I just adored. It's like, I can't put it anywhere near those songs.
Remember, it's a it's a kid's song.
I don't know. It's a Bear song. But no, again, so understanding that 2.5 is right in the middle of an average, honestly, I'm going to go a little higher than I may have otherwise, because I do think there's some fun elements to it. And you're right, the way they kind of vary it up and have the weird stuff in the background going on, the changes and how they address things. I am going to award The Other Day I Met a Bear 3.200 pounds of raw Hank the Tank.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
You got most of Hank in there.
That's a good portion of Hank.
What about you, Heidi?
For me, I have to take this, like Aaron said, separately from your traditional Barenaked Ladies, because this is something special, something different. It's not like, so it's not snack time either. I have to keep it away from snack time, because all it is that their version of a kids campy song for an album for this thing. And so it's not like, granted, they do some types of songs on snack time that are different.
I wish this had been on snack time, to be honest.
I think it would have been fun. But I take it differently than a real Barenaked Ladies song. So it's not, like Aaron said, it's not in the league with Brian Wilson or any, or any of my favorites. But on its own, I think it's fun. I love listening to it. It makes me think like a kid. Like you can see, I'm smiling even talking about it, because granted, I love kids music and I love real kids music. I hated that's what the kids bop stuff. Oh. I hated it because it wasn't, some of the songs were so inappropriate and they never changed the lyrics. And like, wait, you have kids singing Wrecking Ball, but because it's singing it's okay? No, that's not okay. So none of that was clean. There's something special about just clean, campy, fun kid stuff that makes them giggle and they think it's silly. Like these songs are, again, they're starting to die and go away, with the exception of summer camp that keeps them alive, which I really appreciate, that they live on. So I'm going to give this song, I'm going to give it a 3.5 for it being on its own, for its merit, and what they do to it to make it even more fun and ramped up. And it sounds like they have a good time with it, even though I know Steven is not a fan of doing these kinds of things so often, but it sounded like they all had a good time.
Yeah, agreed.
So I'm going to put in, this is the adults' decision. This is the adults' ratings on this. But my daughter wanted, even though it's not really a kid's song because it's not on a kid's album, but I think it's a kid's song. I mean, it's aimed toward kids. And BNL definitely aimed it toward kids. My daughter wanted to have her say, so I will put that in right here. Okay, Bella, so what did you think of The Other Day I Met a Bear?
Well, I really liked it because it was silly. Like, how the bear was telling the person run, because I see you don't have any gun. Why would you tell that? You're losing your breakfast.
Is there anything else that you liked about the song?
I liked how it had a lot of weird noises, and it was rhyming a lot, and how it made this weird noise, and then one of the people whispered, "Why?"
Were there any things about this song that you didn't like?
No.
Okay, so what would you give this song?
5 out of 5 stars.
Okay, thank you, Bella.
Doing okay. So, what did you think of Barenaked Ladies' version of The Other Day I Met a Bear?
I thought it was weird. It made me really think that that's all they should do is children's albums, because they're really good at it. They're good at coming up with tunes and stuff like that. So I saw, as I was playing it, that it said it was like for the kids 3. So apparently that they've done a few for the kids.
No,
nothing like having a children's song about somebody getting mauled by a bear. So, like go and climb a tree or try to climb a tree. And bears climb trees better than humans. So that doesn't work unless it's like a big old grizzly. But if it's a black bear, you're toast.
Maybe not the best lesson to be teaching kids around the campfire then.
Correct. Yeah. No, I would not. Why would they put that on like a?
Maybe they didn't understand bears as well back in 1919.
That could be. They're like, a bear, just run. Run as fast as you can. Hope to outrun the thing. Can you run as fast as Carl Lewis? No.
Well, obviously this person is supernatural. They can jump 10 feet.
I know. That's
They can jump over 10 feet because they caught it on the way back down.
It's quite a high jump. Anyways, I thought it was an okay song. It was all right, and then the subject matter, I'm like, all right, this is weird. I would, as a group, I would say, no, I'm going to pass on this as a song for kids. So, but good for them for doing it, I guess. I would never have put it on the album, but that's just me, anyways. But I think that Barenaked Ladies does a really good job at singing children's songs. That might be their niche. That might be their avenue now with Stephen gone and all that stuff.
So how many bears would you give this song?
How many bears? Oh my. I would probably say 2.25 bears.
I have to agree with Bella. I love this song. And so my rating system, as I've mentioned before, with kids songs, and I do think this is a kids song, my ratings for kids songs are different. And would I put it up there with Brian Wilson and stuff like that? No, obviously not. However, kids songs are their own category, and it takes a special type of kids song to not be annoying on the 50,000th
Yes,
listen.
agreed.
I was thinking of that song. I know a song that gets on everybody's
nerves. Or this is the song that, or the song that never ends.
The song that never ends. Yeah. Exactly. There are so many songs out there that are just they will. Like, they're earworms, but they're bad earworms. This is an earworm that I would like to have stuck in my head, especially this version, because they're having so much fun with it. And I think that if you're going to play a kid's song, it's not meant to be educational. Like, it's just to be fun and have fun with the kids. And it's engaging them because they get a chance to sing back with it. This is what a kid's song should be. So for me, I have to give it a really high score because of that. And on the kids song rating, I give this a 4.75.
Wow. So would you put this on your best of list?
When I have kids in the car, definitely. Like this.
Okay, that's a good answer. I get it. I'm with you.
I would put this song on there over most Rick Charette songs. And Rick Charette, for me, is one
Rick Charette is a national treasure.
He is. He is. But I would say, like, when it comes to kids' songs that don't get old, this one is right up there.
Yeah, and it's a good one. It's a good performance. I agree.
So
I agree.
It's amazing, and the kids love it every time. And so, for me, it's got to be up there.
Rick Charette, we know you listen. Please come on the show.
I've met him so many times. It's so wonderful. He's
a really nice guy.
Until last year, he was still going around, still doing concerts. My kids got to meet him, and it was wonderful. I love Rick Charette. So, yes, we would love to have Rick Charette on the show anytime.
We should have him come on and do one of the kids' songs with us.
Ooh. Now you've tempted
Track him down on Twitter, Tracy.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get Livingston Taylor, because I like him too.
And we could also get Mr. Harley, and
we could get Mr. Harley.
Mr. Harley is.
I went to college. I went to college with Mr. Harley.
Oh, did you? I actually
Harley Smith. He was from Perpetual Motion Machine. He went to UMA.
I actually have a lot of contact with him because we used his song "Blue Shirt" for a video for my school.
Can we get Charlie Waffles?
Thanks, that was fun. Don't forget.
You don't know who
Charlie regrets.
I don't know who Charlie Waffles.
So you remember 2.5 Men when it was good?
Yes.
2.5 Men. Okay, so for a bit before Charlie Sheen went off the deep end, his character was hilarious and he did jingles. Well, then he started realizing you could make on the children's music circuit. So he created this character called Charlie Waffles. And you just have to YouTube Charlie Waffles because there's one called like Bye Bye Boobies. And
can we get
so funnies? What?
Can we get Chris Pratt and his alter ego Johnny Karate on here for the kids song?
Oh yeah,
Chris, we know you listen. Come on the show.
That's right. So guys, we were talking about Hank, and we were talking about bear attacks this week. And I have to say, I saw this one amazing thing on Facebook this week, and I'm pulling it up so you guys can see it now. That there's these, when you look at the solar system, there are areas where bear attacks happen a lot.
Wow.
Are you saying, Tracy, that we are literally in the Goldilocks zone?
Wow.
We are in the Goldilocks zone of bear attacks, because if you go outside, you go to Mars or Mercury or Neptune, very few bear attacks happening there. I'm looking at this picture, and
checkmate.
There's almost no risk of a bear attack elsewhere. Really high risk of bear attacks on our blue dot on Earth.
It's almost like how the vast majority of COVID cases occur in major population centers.
Yeah. I only bring that up because next week's song is Our Blue Dot.
Oh, nice. Is that a Carl Sagan reference?
It could be. We'll have to look at that further next week. Well, thank you guys for joining me this week.
Absolutely a pleasure, as it always is.
Absolutely, as always. We really got a lot out of the other day I met a bear. I'm pretty impressed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
Impressed.
Well, guys, I might be away for a few weeks. I'm traveling to the West Coast.
Oh, very cool.
I will try and send my
Don't
thoughts.
run into Hank.
Don't run into Hank the Tank. But if
I will
you
try and
do,
be on the lookout for Hank the
do
Tank.
an interview with him and we'll put it on the show.
Hank, we know you listen. Please come on the show.
Hank the Tank, we love you. Please come on the show.
To celebrate joining Pantheon Podcasts, Rock Camp, the podcast, the official podcast of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, is giving away a guitar signed by Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater, Marty Friedman, formerly of Megadeth, and legendary shredder Zakk Wylde, plus our rockstar counselors like Vinny Appice, Monty Pittman, and more. To enter to win, simply follow, rate, and review our podcast on your preferred platform, and that's all you have to do. For more information, go to rockcamp.com/podcast.